He's one of the many people my life is better for knowing, and I might not have met him if it wasn't for my wife, who befriended him, and vice versa, when she moved out here first to California to host a host of programs for Fox Sports and cover the... How about Susie starting her career covering Leinart and the USC Trojans and Shaq Kobe Lakers and the Angels when they won the World Series?
Good timing.
How about
by
that?
her, yeah.
That's how Susie began her broadcasting career, and she got to know Bob Saget, and I've gotten to know him through all that, and get to call him a good friend, and get him calling into this show as the host of a new podcast. Bob Saget's here for you. The great Bob Saget. How are you, Bob?
I'm good, Rich. I'm so happy to hear your voice.
Right back
I like
at
to
you.
eat Pop-Tarts. That's the cardboard that it comes in.
You know what, Bob? That's a window into your soul, I think, right there.
Yeah.
You know, but we were just discussing in our commercial break, or just for our YouTube and Sirius XM audience, that the Chargers put out on their social media feed in advance of the schedule coming out what type of flavor Pop-Tart their opponents would be. And we asked about, do you toast a Pop-Tart or not? Bob, I give you the floor.
Well, a blueberry is the only thing I could eat, and you got to toast it a little bit. It's kind of like eating something that's not cooked. I mean, you don't eat frozen peas without heating them up.
No, I know that, but you have sushi, don't you, Bob? Don't you eat sushi?
I love sushi,
Okay.
but a raw fish is different than a non-baked pastry made of chemicals. I hope they're not a sponsor.
No, they are not, Bob. They are not.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have Honey Nut Cheerios, and that's only because a pandemic will do things to a man. I mean, hey, you know what's amazing? I used to get Captain Crunch cereal. Remember that?
Oh, please. Well, actually, I don't mean to nitpick. It's Cap'n Crunch.
Oh, it is? It had an apostrophe in it?
Yeah, C-A-P''N, Bob.
As a kid, I didn't know about all that stuff. I didn't know. What do you call that, conjunctivitis, when you put two words together?
No, but you can maybe get it. I don't know.
Anyway, you can, and it's when you have your eyes dripping, and you don't need milk, because just never mind. Anyway, I won a watch. I got a Captain Crunch watch from sending away for a sweepstakes. The only thing I won.
Are you serious? No, seriously.
And I'd like to thank all the people that got me there. The people that, my mom for getting the cereal, the people at the market. You know, just to be nominated is...
So you actually sent away, you were a kid, and you actually, cut, because I remember you would cut the side of the box, right?
Yeah, you had to cut right in there.
You'd have to cut the side of the box for that proof of purchase,
your
right?
just eat the whole damn box with the Pop-Tart. They don't care.
By the way, that's the first time I've used the word proof of purchase since maybe I was 7 years old.
And this is pre-barcode.
Yes, it's pre-barcode.
And there's no barcodes until they open up, and then the code will be 9 feet.
I do remember also that I would just eat the Cracker Jacks and just get the treat. Open up a Cracker Jacks.
And your hands are completely sticky.
That's right.
And then hornets come, and now, thank God, the murder hornets weren't prevalent back then, because they'd have gone right for my hand, and all I was trying to do was get a little memo pad, like a miniature memo pad.
Oh, my God. The great Bob Saget. Bob Saget's Here For You podcast is available where all podcasts are gotten right now. So where did the podcast come from, Bob?
Well, it was interesting because before the pandemic, I was out doing stand-up, had a tour all set, had a new hour ready to go, was going to shoot a special in the fall, and then it all just came to a halt. But at the end of 2019, I went the same thing as my stand-up. People are arguing, everybody, we're all human beings, all the normal stuff you're hearing everybody saying, and can't we just all just have some fun, and can I make things brighter for people? And they were hurting before the pandemic. People were angry, so angry, and we all know it. Everybody's saying the same thing, except for someone that thinks that they're completely correct, and there is no other hand or other side. And so I was just doing what I'm doing, and I decided to do a podcast for that reason. I did 2 episodes in studio so we could get the YouTube component, and then they went, no, there's no more in studio. And I was Danny Tanner. I freaked out. I mean, did you disinfect everything? Did you boil the windscreen on the mic,
Right.
And they, I'm sure you're the same way. I mean, you're in studio, right?
I am, Bob. I walk in every day like I'm Walter White, ready to cook. My first 20 minutes of my day is wiping everything down. I'm serious.
You make hard-boiled eggs and then meth?
Yeah. And then I do the show. Yeah, in that order.
Oh, my God.
Exactly.
And you're wiping front to back, right? That's important. People don't say that. I have a face mask on my butt right now. I'm afraid to sit anywhere. I'm afraid something will jump in, a murder hornet carrying the virus. But I can't make virus jokes. But yet people do. But they're doing it in a different context. It's not making fun of it.
The thing I love about your podcast cover, Bob, as we were putting it up while you were talking about it, is that it says at the very bottom, first podcast by a comedian ever, and then you bracket it with these sort of gold leaf palm d'or type looking.
I won the Cannes Film Festival.
Yeah,
yes.
It looks like it's a film festival stamp of approval, which makes you believe it is the first podcast by a comedian.
Until you look at Apple Podcasts and you go, "Holy crap! All my friends have been there for 10 years." Joe Rogan created an empire. You know, all my friends, Bill Burr, and Bill's on the podcast. I'd love to have you on.
Anytime, Bob. You know that.
Mark Maron. You listen to Conan. You know, people that are just fantastic at this. And mine was meant to be for real, and especially after the shoe dropped with being there for people. So I decided to have a phone line set up, and then on certain days of the week, and right now I'm on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule. I just had Tiffany Haddish Day was yesterday.
Fantastic.
And then tomorrow I'll be talking to people, and I leave on Instagram and Twitter a number they can call, and I'll tell them I'll call them between 1 and 4 on Thursday.
You're like the cable person? It's any time between the 3-hour window?
It is like back to UHF. We are public access. I might as well be the Joe Franklin show without a video.
That is a great reference.
But now I'm into the whole Zoom of it all. So I'm getting I'll be talking to Norman Lear today.
That's amazing.
Brilliant, wonderful man, and that will be on visible on the YouTube, as we say.
As they say. That's
that
great.
No one says with me, but the thing is, I get to talk to people, and you do that as well, and you're in a dilemma because here you are promoting what you wanted to do was talk about sports. What you came here to do was and talk about life. I mean, you're a good interviewer, and you know broadcasting. But here we are at a standstill, and a lot of the calls I'd call up, and somebody goes, "Bob, I didn't think you'd call me," and then he's stoned, and I'm talking to a stoned guy for a half hour. And it's wonderful. And then I'll talk to someone else who's a nurse on the front lines and starts crying. She just lost a patient to COVID. And I'm like, how's it at home? And she has an autistic son who doesn't understand what's going on. And then I'm able to get like that one little moment of happiness out of her. Or just sometimes they want somebody to talk to. And for some reason, I guess they haven't seen my full resume. They feel safe with me. And
wow. Bob, look, man, I know you look, I know you work blue when you're out there on the stage, and a lot of people find it, jarring based on
not anymore. I don't
maybe
think.
Not anymore, but look, I mean, you've got a big heart and a huge heart. Scleroderma, I know, is obviously a disease that is.
Thank you for always supporting it in a big way, Rich.
Look, your annual events in order to fight this awful disease. You bring so many people together. You help so many people. You also co-hosted the Laugh Aid benefit back in April that tries to help fellow comedians deal with COVID-19 in this world. And everybody showed up, man. I mean, so who's the person that you were around the most when you started out as a comedian that you're still maybe with? I mean,
when I began?
Yeah, when you began. Who was there at the beginning?
I was 17 when I started doing stand-up, and I was singing different comedy songs about bondage.
That's how you came out of the box, huh, Bob?
Hey, don't talk about my mom like that. Pop-Tarts come out of the box. But anyway, what happened was when I moved to L.A. and I had gone to the Comedy Store, and Mitzi and the owner, Mitzi Shore, said, "You should work here." And I was going to go to grad school for film at USC because I'd won the student Oscar. I thought it was a big deal at 21. Those are really likable people, the ones that think they're stars. And now they are, because the world has changed. But I'd say Gary Shandling was one of the first people I became friends with. And we would go to his house in the Valley, and we would write jokes, and most of them involved, my unit or his unit or any guys.
Right.
To try to relate to your brethren. And then relationship stuff, and that was what I did for many years. And then Dave Coulier moved out, and I was friends with Mike Binder. But then I was thrown into the Comedy Store world. Was Robin Williams and Richard Pryor, and
that must have been amazing. That must have been just amazing.
And I couldn't believe they liked me. They don't fake it. None, comedians, especially of that level, they're not going to fake being nice to some young guy who looks like, just a nice young man who then says really weird stuff. So it was Billy Crystal came and talked to me my first night. Letterman was my host. Letterman was hosting.
No kidding.
And it was before he did his morning show, and you could tell that he was going to be like one of the biggest broadcasters of all time. And it was just, I'll never forget it, and it helped build character. But being there 8 years, that can knock you down when all your friends are off going, I'm going to go do a show. Okay, Arsenio, I'll see you in a couple of years when I get a show.
Right.
But I've remained in contact with a lot of people, and this pandemic has kept that going. Howie Mandel he was a guest on my show. I also have people that are of note. Stamos was the first because that's in the Bible. It's in the Old Testament.
Yes.
Must have Stamos first, and then, but other really dear friends, John Mayer and Bill Burr and Tiffany Haddish were just on, as I said, and Seth Green and Norman Lear and Joe Gaffigan, and different people that people I think would want to hear, but friends. I'm trying to make it conversations,
Well, that's the best part about it is if you want to listen to somebody, it's like two friends talking. I hope people feel the same with just listening to us right now.
They do.
By the way,
and I did text you last night because I did not know that your pinned tweet was from December when you lost your dad, and that gets right to me because there's about 4,000 stages of grief because I lost both my parents and both my sisters, and I'm waiting for others to go now as well. That's not funny, but I do gallows humor. There's nothing else to do.
I know you do. And my dad was, you were here turkey bowling a couple of years ago on a
with
Thanksgiving.
My wife Kelly, we both.
That's right. And my parents were here too, and they were excited to meet you. And my mom, who's probably sitting at home right now watching, appreciate you bringing my dad up. And
you have a lovely mom, and I never touched her.
By the way, your comments about your mother, my mother. Chris Brockman across the way can't even look at me right now because he's trying not to laugh. He's trying not to. He won't even. It's like one of those moments in school, like he just knows he'll lose it if he just looks at me right now. He won't even look at me.
I'm trying to focus on something else so I don't just lose it right now.
Now's a good time to pop a pill.
He will not even look at me. Oh, man.
I can't make eye contact when we talk about moms. And Mother's Day's coming up.
That's right. Perfect timing, Bob.
Mom something.
Perfect.
What is she like?
Flowers, Bob. Flowers.
I've been doing a lot of TikToks. I could do a dance for her. Does she have any dollar bills?
Brockman he will not even look at me right now. His head is buried.
I don't blame him. Your mom's actually beautiful.
Thank you, Bob.
Really beautiful. I'm in love with your mom.
So how about
I want to be your stepdad.
So how about those final 9 episodes of Fuller House?
Family reunions. Once the pandemic's over, I'd be at all the reunions. Kelly would understand. It's innocent.
Oh yes, it's not her first rodeo listening to you talking about like this. So how about those final 9 episodes of Fuller House available on Netflix
boy,
June 2nd? Boy, how about that?
Thank God for notes. They come out June 2nd. So if people loved Fuller House, it's the closure. It's the final 9 episodes, and it ends really well. People always say, "What's your favorite episode?" Mm-hmm. And I always used to say the last one, and that was a joke. But this particular 9 episodes do give closure for fans of the show.
Okay.
I don't think your fans are necessarily Fuller House fans.
I wouldn't, Bob. Don't say that.
They're waiting for the Padres, I think.
No. Bob, come on now. Why would you say that? There's tons of Fuller House fans everywhere.
Do you have 9-year-olds watching?
Do we have 9? We have 9-year-olds watching.
We had a 14-year-old call in today.
We're on YouTube right now. We're on YouTube. The kids dig it.
All I care about your mom's watching right now. I wish we were on a Zoom or something so I could. But Zoom is scary because people crash into them. They just get in there.
I guess so. I guess that's
a friend of mine's a urologist, and he had 800 urologists on a major conference, and some guys came in, and guess what they showed of theirs up on the screen, and they had to close the whole meeting down. So that ain't no way. You can't really be teaching about urology and then actually show, demos.
Bob Saget, everybody, the host of the new podcast. Bob Saget's here for you. Love you, Bob. Susie wanted to send my best. So
I love you.
Right
Give my love to Susie. That's another one. I want her to know that I'm in love with her.
She knows that already, Bob.
Lascivious. This is love.
I know that. You had her at hello too, Bob. But you knew that. You take care of yourself, Bob.
Be well, my friend.
Right back at you. At Bob Saget, right here. He's saying all that stuff, and I look up to you, and you won't even look at me.
I mean, that's the thing with Bob. You just don't know where it's going or what's coming next. My cheeks hurt.
Whew. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.